Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.
What are the pluses and minuses for you?
Chairman, some of them, I mean, generally speaking, when each of the manifestos, they have specific policies on revenue, or let me say fiscal policies some of them are actionable, some, we can debate. But generally, they focus on the need to get our economy from where it is today. There are challenges.
Okay.
Which for me is a good admission.
Just
but and they've all spoken about fiscal reforms. One, NDC has spoken, for example, about the fact that they want to keep deficits consistent with the Fiscal Responsibility Act, and they want to keep the limits of fiscal deficit in line with say it should be according to the Fiscal Responsibility Act. But one Fiscal Responsibility Act, we suspended it after it was passed. 3 years in fact, we never had a chance to implement that act. And I would have expected, say, 3 years down the line after COVID was the reason why we suspended it. But we are in the 4th or 3rd year after COVID. Still, it's on suspension. NDCC or mobile as part of we need to have a guide. Fiscal policy rules. SAACT is one of such. Is to make sure say so the new money be but once there is no law to bind you, my expectation is that Orabomia would also, think along the lines and say, look, and yes, Nisa actually war, but we'll remove the suspension and begin to keep ourselves in check. And to fiscal reforms, even though there are varying degrees of how much reform they would do, because we've short tax reforms now. Dr. Bome has spoken about e-levy. Both of them are saying, look, idea is scrappy. And I share that view with them. If you want to promote technology adoption, and I mean, a country, Ghana is very far from the frontier. Ghana is a laggard. When it comes to technology adoption in our chairman, we are late adopters.
But the parliament and I come here so.
Mati chairman, and say ye pese ye one crop more mu. Etia say ye wo age and era more technology na ye bibia. You don't place a tax on Nyoma that can discourage.
That's why e-levy must go.
And I'm excited, Dr. Baumia, regardless of the fact that Otimubi. But when who said, and that's the fine thing being an economist. Chairman, an economist would see what Sebi, you, the ordinary person, may not see. Ntianka, on your economist, probably the likelihood of Bekazo, Adi, Maba, and Ediba, and Tientuas would be very high.
But also betray
him. Mahama Susi obey him, and now they are saying, I don't know him is here now or Chayama. But we've had this conversation. Chairman, being a vice president, I have said, look, the rule of the vice president in this country, if you don't create a rule for yourself, you have no rule. The constitution gives you just one. Yes, and cry year free.
Ababak, Police Council and Armed Forces Council.
Chairman,
chairman of the Police Council, chairman of the Armed Forces Council.
And if this is the only role the constitution gives to you, if you don't create a rule for yourself, you'll be useless. What is here? And he cannot at this point, because Mampenyi Akufo-Addo in the case on the Kwambia's open e-levy. Why you wanted him to go and tell Akufo-Addo say, "Master, he didn't free when he free my made died." And what were people expecting? Jack Toronto, our way. Or no, like
so. Why need Jack Toronto?
Or Akufo-Addo?
They're being friends, I don't know.
Oh, not in a derogatory manner.
I know. So you're being humorous. Yeah. I know.
Wait, dear, Chama in him, Papa, okay. Oh no, so go, quite menso. What is here? And I said, yes, Numana or see obeyeno. Some of them he has no power to implement them at this point.
Okay.
And or see obey cha e-levy everywhere. We should accept it as a dear. That will be a new policy in his regime. Now, finally,
yes.
Ansana Nanabe Muno. German is becoming exciting. Say now we are focusing more on issues. Jobs need the
there are good jobs, there are bad jobs, there are insulting jobs.
And I think,
but at least it's not coming from the main people.
no, main people in America.
Okay.
Well, their jobs are, coded
Acceptable.
Acceptable, yes.
Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet Atik.